Hello and welcome. So today we are going to be doing a lot of crossing the midline. We're going to do a lot of stuff where our hands will be crossed, and eventually we might be doing a little bit of either what's known as shoulder taps or the butterfly hug. So if it's working for us, we are welcome to kind of just settle into whatever seat we need. We can adjust or readjust. Don't have to be on the floor, don't have to be cross-legged, just finding something that's going to work for us today. We might do our best to notice if it's okay to find a breath in, if it's okay to find that breath out. So what we might start with are just a few of our seated cat and cow movements. So we might start just by shrugging our shoulders back. And if it's okay, we're going to lift our chest up almost like the heart's trying to point something out in the ceiling. And then from there, we do the reverse of that. We'll shrug our shoulders forward. And we'll let our upper back lift up, almost like that space between our shoulder blades is trying to get a little closer to the ceiling. And we'll just repeat this as we're ready. We're going to shrug our shoulders back and think about our chest lifting. And then we'll shrug our shoulders forward and let that upper back lift. And we're just going to repeat these a few times if we can. Just noticing how that's working for us. And then when we're ready, if our breath feels accessible right now, maybe we're adding in the breath. Now we can think of it any way we need to. Maybe we like to imagine that our breath is our reminder to move. And we can decide what pose will remind us on our inhale. And then our exhale, which pose will we be reminded to do then? So that might look like inhales remind us to shrug our shoulders back. Exhales remind us to shrug our shoulders forward, or maybe the reverse of that. Both versions have benefits to them. Neither of these are the inherently right or wrong way to go about it. Could we do this 2 more times? Now, when we're ready, we'll come back to center. It might just feel good to move a little bit. Now, if it's working for us, we can cross our arms. Now, maybe it's hands on our shoulders. If our hands don't comfortably find the shoulders, maybe it's closer to the biceps. That's perfectly okay. Now, if it's feeling all right for us, we're going to bring our elbows out to the side. Now, we might prefer to keep our palms straight up. We might prefer them a little bit facing the ground, completely facing the ground. None of these are the inherently right or wrong way to do it. Just kind of changes what we're stretching and how we're stretching it. And then we might cross again. And again, we might bring our elbows out, just deciding how we want our hands to face. And we're more than welcome to play it, do a little trial and error, noticing what version is the one we want to do today. And then when we're ready, we'll recross. Now, if it's working for us, we can come back to that idea as breath is our reminder to move. Now, maybe the inhale is reminding us to bring our elbows out. And then the exhale reminds us to bring them in. But we can also do the inverse of that. That's also known as breathing into the back. When we inhale, and it reminds us to recross the arms, and exhaling brings the elbows back. We're just going to figure out which one we want to do. But can we think in terms again of that reminder? The inhale reminds us to do one pose. The exhale reminds us to do the other. Could we do this for roughly 2 more breaths? And then whenever we're ready, we're just going to pause with our arms still crossed. We'll take a moment. Maybe we do a little bit of a rotator cuff stretch, and that just means the muscles around the shoulder blade. If we're ready, we're just going to see, can I lift through my chest? Maybe my elbows start to lift as well. Maybe they don't. We might find they don't really lift up all that much. That's okay. We're going to do our best to breathe in. We'll do our best to breathe out. Now maybe we bring our elbows down. Maybe we can notice what arm is the arm that's on top. And we're going to switch. So now the arm that was on the bottom is now on the top. And when we're ready, we're just going to start to lift through our chest again. Maybe the elbows lift as well. Maybe they don't. We're listening to the body. I'm just going to try our best to breathe in. And try our best to breathe out. Now when we're ready, we'll bring our arms down. And from here, we'll transition either to our shoulder taps or to our butterfly hug. Now, if we like to do what's known as the shoulder taps, we might have our hands somewhere on our shoulders, but again, perfectly okay if they're on the biceps. They don't have to be on the shoulders. Really what matters is just we have our right hand on the left side and left hand's on the right side. We could also hook our thumbs and place our hands on our heart. So it kind of looks like we have a bird or a butterfly on our heart. Either version works, either version is valid. We can decide if we want our eyes open. We can decide if the eyes would like to close. If it is working for us, we're just going to alternate which hand is lightly tapping the shoulder, or if we're doing our butterfly hug, that might be a little bit closer towards our rib cage area. So maybe we're just thinking one hand lightly taps down and then the other. And this alone is beneficial. Crossing the midline is when we have our right hand on the left side, left hand's gone over to the right side, and it makes the right and left sides of our hemisphere talk to each other, and it strengthens the connection between the right and left sides of our hemisphere. We can think of it kind of like the interstate, connecting one road or one state to the other. This alone is beneficial. If it is working for us, maybe we can take a moment to see if there is a positive or even just a constructive yet neutral word that resonates right now. Happiness, peace, love, caring, joy, strength, resiliency. The list goes on and on. It doesn't have to be from that list at all. We're going to pick one that's working for us. And what we might do is we might just repeat that word. Just periodically repeating that word. Or maybe even each time a hand is tapping down, we're just repeating that word to ourselves. Maybe it works for us to even let the breath be part of this practice. Just some kind of deliberate breath in. Some kind of deliberate breath out. If we feel like we're getting way too many instructions, that's okay. Just pick the ones that resonate or even the ones we remember. If it is okay for us, we're going to try this for roughly 3 more breaths. But we certainly do not have to count our breaths, especially as we are trying to repeat a word to ourselves. And then we can wind down in really whatever way we need to wind down. Maybe it feels okay to slow down the taps. Maybe it feels okay to lightly let our hands eventually return to some kind of neutral. Maybe it feels okay to find that breath in and that breath out. Maybe we come back to that word if we can. Whatever the word is that we chose. Maybe we explore that question. Is there something in my life, no matter how small, no matter how indirect, that resonates, that I am grateful for, that relates back to that word in some way? Is there something in my life, no matter how small or indirect, that relates back to that word that I'm grateful for? And maybe we just give that a breath in and our breath out. And then whatever our practice will be after this is entirely up to us.